Well, day 3 of the Paris Olympics began with India almost winning their second medal and ended with India having one of their most path-breaking performances at the Olympics ever. I'm talking about Arjun Baboota coming agonizingly close to winning India's second medal at the Paris Olympics, but finishing fourth in shooting, in 10-meter air rifle shooting in the morning. And Manika Batra giving us the best ever singles performance at an Olympics by a man or a woman today. Before we go to that Arjun Baboota heartbreak, I think we should start the podcast on a positive note. My co-host Vinayakk Mohanarangan joins me. He's somebody who's tracked this Manika Batra match very closely. Vinayakk, welcome to Pod of the Rings. I forgot to say that at the start. Welcome to Pod of the Rings, Vinayakk, and to our listeners as well. Tell us about this Manika result, Vinayakk.
Yeah, quite a significant moment. She was up against Manika Batra, French table tennis player with Indian roots. Father is apparently from Pondicherry. So last night we saw Harmeet Desai lose against a French teenager phenom in quite a raucous atmosphere in the TT Arena. And tonight it was complete opposite. Manika Batra, slightly nervous start, but she quickly silenced the crowd and it was a dominant performance. That's, I think, a very significant part of this result because it wasn't just her, trying to scrape through against a higher ranked player. It was Manika dictating terms almost for the entirety of the match, except maybe 2 phases of 3-4 points on the trot for Kritika. So yeah, like you said, as it's been confirmed by World Table Tennis, this is the best ever singles performance by an Indian in singles at the Olympic Games in table tennis. We've had a few historic moments in table tennis in recent past, Asian Games, Commonwealth, couple of back-to-back Asian Games medals, all that, but this could probably be right up in the mix just in terms of it coming at the Olympic Games. And congrats to Manika for a great achievement. I mean, of course, it's still round of 16, so we should not get too carried away in terms of what it means. But in the context of the Olympic Games and table tennis for India, that's a very significant win. So yeah, a good match late in the night. Right.
Well, before we talk some more to Vinayakk about the most significant results for Indians today, Mihir has been patiently waiting for us, our co-host who's currently in Paris. Now, finally, we can start saying that he's in Paris because he's been spending a lot of time in the capital city rather than traveling to a chota sa French village to cover shooting. I think he might have actually also traveled to cover some shooting eventually. But Mihir, you've I think tried to piece together a piece on a non-resident French citizen by the love that the French guys have for the Spaniard. You've been trying to do a piece on Rafael Nadal. You've been trying to talk to a lot of people around him. And I believe you have a very beautiful piece on Nadal coming up in today's newspaper, in fact, where you've spoken to chefs, you've spoken to ball boys, you've spoken to plenty of people who've seen Nadal up close and personal. Just talk to us about this piece of yours and just what you've been observing about Rafael Nadal and the love that France has for this Spaniard.
The day started today in the most unexpected way. The plan was to go cover the Nadal-Djokovic match, not for the sporting side of it, but just the whole mood, right, in the city. Nadal and Paris and his last dance in Paris, all those things. So I was trying to figure out if there's any voice that we can kind of add to the story. Who knows Nadal in a more personal way and maybe give some insight into his character. Research karte, I stumbled upon this guy who's been making his birthday cakes for the major part of the last 20 years. I just happened to get his number too through someone. Called him. That guy called me to his office. And the first thing he says that, I was there for the Ambani wedding too. He made literally 70 feet of desserts every day for the wedding for 2,000 guests at the Ambani wedding. And I was completely blown away. And quickly, we started talking about Nadal and he shared some really nice tidbits about Nadal's eating habits. Very low sugar, loves olives. Most of his birthday cakes that were made had olives hidden in it. And one of the things that Nadal liked doing is to kind of find olives in the cake that were there. Apparently never ate more than 1 spoon and the rest of it was finished off by his team. And this chef, I later on realized his name is Marc Riviere, is apparently one of the world's best pastry chef. No wonder the Ambanis called him for their wedding too. And it was the second Ambani wedding that he had done. The daughter's wedding too, apparently he claimed to have done. But at Roland Garros every year, they make food for 8,000 people. and there are more than 100 chefs working on it. But this guy specifically has been making birthday cakes for Nadal. And these kind of little bits are everywhere. So I spoke to the ball boy, the head of ball boys here, very briefly again. And he said they used to keep dates on Nadal's chair because it's something that he likes. And before he could even ask the referee for it, they wanted to ensure that it was always there. There were others who you will not talk about his personality. I've read earlier reports where a person has said that he introduced, this is the groundsman, introduced his wife to Nadal, and Nadal got shy even more than the lady. And he said that he was extremely shy and kind of, humble around people and very open to meeting people. And one thing I noticed that every Parisian who's been to Roland Garros, who's watched tennis, who's a tennis fan, has a personal Rafa Nadal story. And I guess that's why it was fitting that he was the last person, one of the last people to carry the torch during the opening ceremony. And if this is to be his last dance, if this is the last time he's played singles tennis, it is fitting that it had to be in Paris.
Well, right. Mihir, you also actually, I believe, spent some time talking to Arjun Babuta today. For those of you who did not see what happened with Arjun, he was in the 10-meter air rifle, which is an event which has brought us 2 medals at the Olympics. Arjun was almost going to make it our 3rd Olympic medal. But after being in the medal contention for almost all the way, he then slipped out, unfortunately, due to a couple of 9-point somethings, as Mihir had told me earlier today. So he had a couple of these 9-pointers, and that saw him finish 4th, which is the most agonizing spot. It's a club that has some bona fide certified legends of the sport joining him. There is Abhinav Bindra, who's finished 4th at the previous Olympics. You have PT Usha, you have Milkha Singh, you have all sorts of legends who have finished 4th at the Olympics. Now young Arjun Babuta joins them. Mihir, you spoke to Arjun after that heartbreak. Just talk to us about his mindset.
Arjun Babuta's 4th place, I think, brings him in this whole company of Indian legends who have managed this feat. It's a very dubious distinction that us Indians have. Almost every Olympics, we have one real proper heartbreak story of an athlete finishing in 4th place, right from Milkha Singh's days in the 1950s to Aditya Ashok at the Tokyo Olympics 3 years ago. And Arjun Babuta joins this list, and he was completely shattered by the result. A couple of shots, right? He had 2 or 3 9-point somethings, which completely messed up his final. So it's something like this, right? He finishes his final, he walks up straight to the media and he has to share his thought. And that's like the most cruel thing for anyone to do, to kind of lay bare your thoughts when you're at perhaps the lowest point of your professional career. He did that, and you could see while he was talking, you could kind of sense through his words that he's wrestling with his thoughts, he's fighting with his own thoughts. He's trying to figure out 100 things. At one point he was saying that, I did everything I could perfectly. I give my 100%. And then suddenly he switches over and says that, but did I? Is there a blind spot in my technique that I can't figure out? Arjun has been this shooter who's the calmest, who's always been the most confident in this bunch of athletes that India has, the shooters that India has. And that one result has kind of filled him with doubts. So you feel really sad for him for the way it ended. Abhinav Bindra was very quick to walk up to him and give him some sagely advice. Bindra himself had finished 4th at the Rio Olympics, so he understands the pain and the emotions that Arjun Babuta was going through. He's asked him to move on. He said ki aap hasi mazak mein uda do ya seriously do whatever you can, but just move on as soon as possible. Don't linger over it because you're going to emerge stronger out of it. And that's what, we'll hope, because we've seen in the case of Manu Bakar that when she had a poor Olympics the first time, she's come back stronger. And it's beautiful story that she's scripting. On Tuesday, she has the chance to become India's first ever athlete to win 2 medals at one Olympics. It'll be tough because Manu and Sarabjot are up against the Korean pair who won gold medals in their respective individual events. But Manu is riding great form right now, and who knows, this could be her moment, this could be her Olympics.
Right. If you are covering an Olympics and we don't talk to you about hockey, I think thoda sa adhura feel hoga. Talk to us about the Indian hockey team. They've managed to salvage a draw with a last minute goal today against Argentina. A lot of people were talking about, how this draw is slightly beneficial for the Indian team because they're playing the slightly easier teams before they run into Belgium and Australia later on in the group. So anyway, it's a very tricky group. 4 teams only qualify for the quarterfinals, and Argentina have already managed to hold them to a 1-1 draw. Just talk to us about your take on the hockey team.
Vinayakk, I agree with you with what you have written in your report, that it's very tough to understand. It's not easy to kind of deconstruct India's performances right now. India have traditionally been slow starters in a tournament, but somehow our go-to reaction with all things Indian hockey is to panic. And at this stage, it becomes extremely important for India to get the win on Tuesday against Ireland, because if they don't, they might still qualify for the quarterfinals, but they'll perhaps get a very, very tough draw for the quarters. So it's important that they get going. They haven't looked smooth yet. Harmanpreet said after the match that they're doing many things right and they're controlling the position and creating chances, but all those things don't matter as long as they don't score the goal, and they haven't been able to score goals. Unfortunately, today was one of those days that we keep talking that mistakes to India Hamisha karte, and that's something that came to bite them back again. So these things they'll have to erase. The mistakes have to go. The forwards have to find their scoring touch. They were doing it coming into the Olympics. They just need to start doing it now.
Right. Thank you so much for joining us, Mihir. I know you have a long day planned ahead, so you want to drop off as well. But thank you so much for joining us. And Vinayakk, you're somebody who's covered the whole day of sport today, watched, I don't know how many sports you must have watched today. What was the one takeaway? I know we've already spoken about Manika. Mihir has spoken about Arjun and the hockey team. But from your perspective, what was the most interesting thing that you found in today's events?
Just a quick couple of things. Badminton, Lakshya was in action for his first match, quote-unquote. His second match, that was his first match because the first match was deleted and all that. So wondering what that is about, there is a little explainer that Amit has done on the website. Just search Lakshya deleted and you'll find out what this is about. So basically, long story short, his first game didn't count because that guy, the Guatemalan Kevin Corden, had to withdraw. So he was back on court today. Nothing really changed for him because he has to win his next 2 matches. So that's the equation is the same. And he did his bit today by winning in straight games. And it has set up a very, 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 very interesting clash against Jonathan Christie of Indonesia. Basically, winner takes all in that match. The 3rd seed. And it's 2 wonderful players to watch. That is coming up later this week. So Lakshya did his bit there. Satvik Chirag have officially qualified for the quarterfinals, even though they didn't play because one of the pairs in their group had withdrawn, and that led to some deletions and additions and all that. So basically, long story short there, even though they didn't play, the other matches in the group meant that Satvik Chirag have now officially qualified for quarterfinals. Whether they're first or second in the group will be decided tomorrow when they take on another Indonesian opponent. So that is in the badminton. Hockey has been covered by Mihir. I also want to add tomorrow, so this was from today, Manu Bakar and Sarabjot Singh were inches away from actually confirming a medal for India. If they had finished second in the mixed team pistol qualification, that would have been an assured medal because they play for the gold/silver match. But a slow start from Sarabjot and a slightly slow start from Manu, and they were, by the smallest margin, they missed out. I think 2 points eventually was the difference between that confirmed medal and fighting for a medal tomorrow. So they're still in contention. So on that note, we can slightly look forward to tomorrow as well with Manu back in action, back in contention for a second medal. Could you imagine, Amit, from Tokyo you were there, none of them could win a medal and now one person could win 2.
Absolutely. And Vinayakk, last time I spoke about this, I sounded a little dismissive. I wasn't trying to be dismissive, but last time when we were at Tokyo, watching Manu, watching Saurabh and all of these young shooters, there was this sense that, I know we are at the Olympics, but itna easy nahi hai, itna difficult nahi lag raha hai, yaar. But I think this time what has kind of changed with these guys is that there is a maybe realization that ठीक है Olympics है तो थोड़ा सा अलग तो होगा, थोड़ा सा stress होगा, but ठीक है, if whatever life throws at us, we are going to manage it. I think Manu is embodiment of that spirit, but I think we are kind of running out of time. Vinayakk, besides Manu's event, tomorrow, what else are you very keen on tracking to?
Just a quick note, spoken about archery a lot. There is some individual events coming tomorrow, but there was another moment like I did yesterday. I just forgot again to mention, which I think I'm getting really good at forgetting about archery. So probably that's a good thing. Another disappointing quarterfinal exit today for the men's team.
Good thing for you, like personal preservation.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm clearing mind space for other things. Oh, God. Yeah. It wasn't quite as disappointing as the women's team performance. But yeah, another missed chance where they couldn't beat a slightly lower seeded Turkey in quarterfinal. And yeah, again, we wait for a medal, but the chances are getting slimmer and slimmer. So there are individual events to look forward to tomorrow. There is shotgun shooting, but yeah, that's a marathon event. So just slow burner. We'll keep an eye on that. Like we said, Manu and Sarabjot is probably our biggest hope. And of course, actually, there is badminton where we've spoken about Satvik Chirag's important match. And boxing, there are 3 bouts tomorrow. After a bit of slow start in terms of the boxers getting into the ring because of the buys and all that stuff. We have 3 boxers in action tomorrow, so that should be a little bit exciting. Yeah, so that's kind of the main crux of what to look forward to. Oh, the hockey team is back in action as well. Another hugely important match tomorrow against Ireland in the evening. So back-to-back matches for them. So let's see how they do before the big tests against Belgium and Australia.
Well, all right. I hope you guys had fun listening to this conversation. We'll be back tomorrow with another episode. Till then, like Rafael Nadal likes to search for olives in his cakes, if you need any nuggets of information about anything happening at the Olympics, you don't have to go too far. You can just come up to theindianexpress.com where Vinayakk starts live blogging early in the afternoon and goes on till very late in the night, bringing you updates after updates. And there are obviously inputs from everybody from the team, from including some of our best and the brightest Olympic correspondents in the country like Shivani Naik and Nitin Sharma, with also inputs coming in from Anil Dias and Shashank Nair. So to follow all of their work, all of their inputs, all of their insights, check out indianexpress.com. This is me, Amit, signing off for today. We'll be back tomorrow with another episode. Goodbye. Take care. Really hope we win a medal tomorrow.
You were listening to Express Sports by The Indian Express. This week's show was edited and mixed by Suresh Pawar and produced by me, Shashank Bhargava. If you like the show, then do subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts. You can also recommend the show to someone you think will like it, share it with a friend or someone in your family. It's the best way for people to get to know about us. You can also tweet us at Express Podcasts and write to us at podcasts@indianexpress.com.